Hey y'all, good news. I got this video playing here right now, and yeah, the first batch of vaccines are going out, and the first responders are getting them, and this fucking poor bitch didn't know what the hell she was getting into, but I'm gonna speed it up for posterity's sake here. She's like, I got a little bit of a headache, and I don't know, not feeling too good, and all of a sudden, yeah, just like she got fucking knocked off stage by a right hook by Mike Tyson, down she goes. Down goes the nurse. Down goes the nurse. But another good news. Mike Pence got the shot today and he didn't pass out, but maybe there's magic in them masks there. I'm not too sure, but the only thing that's kind of really freaking me out about this right now, I think we've got the peak 2020 take on the vaccine right now. Now listen, I've been very skeptical about the vaccine as well, and especially all of the pre-written responses to it. Yeah, it just kind of reads like a dystopian novel, to be completely honest. So I couldn't be bothered to go to the source material on this one, but I like the Federalist, so we're going to use that. Expert in the New York Times. You can see why I didn't want to go to the source material on this one. Old people shouldn't get COVID vaccine first because they're white. I don't normally like to talk about racial issues because I think that there are more important things that we should be talking about. But if people are starting to push this fucking idea, just like how they're pushing the idea of your boss can make sure that you get vaccinated and you're going to have to start carrying around your papers. And before we get too far, yes, I've seen this morning, and this is also going to tie into the vaccine as well. This is from Andrew Yang. He doesn't quite yet have a position, at least I don't think, in the Biden transition team, or he's going to have some kind of fucking spectacular position. I'd imagine he will, because he's been carrying the fucking water hard for fucking Biden on this one. So it wouldn't shock me if he gets something like the fucking Secretary of the Treasury or something like that, if that one's not already filled. I couldn't be asked because we don't know if Biden's actually going to take over the White House yet. But as you can see here, his hot take on the fucking vaccine. Is there a way for somebody to easily show that they have been vaccinated, like a barcode they can download on their phone? There ought to be. Tough to have mass gatherings like concerts or ball games without either mass adoption of a vaccine or a means of signaling. I've been tested at a photo shoot or interview and gotten a bracelet showing I was negative so we could interact more freely. I will ask you if you think that sounds a little bit like, I don't know, certain tattoos from a certain population, say 80 years ago? Yeah, I'll just let your fucking mind wander on that one, comrade. You know what else you should do? If you're going to make sure everybody gets their barcode for their phone, you should probably get them to, instead of downloading it onto their phone, you should send them all on boxcars to a certain place so they can get their papers. See if we can try that one again. Fucking hot takes all around. Anyways, yeah, back to the other absolute insanity, the racism that's going on right now. And yes, you can be racist to white people, crazy motherfuckers. You guys know that, though. Well, corporate media hypocritical politicians and others labeled anyone in favor of reopening the economy, getting kids back in school, and even gatherings for holidays a grandma killer. One expert in ethics and health policy in the New York Times say that vaccinating elderly people first is racist. At least in Canada, they think that it's useless, but this guy's got even a hotter take. In an article published in early December, Dr. Harold Schmidt, one of his people, maybe Andrew Yang should get in touch, told the New York Times that essential workers should be vaccinated before older, more vulnerable populations because the people in those fields are disproportionately minorities. Oh my God. By God. Older populations are whiter. He told the publication, society is structured in a way that enables them to live longer. But he doesn't want them to prosper. Instead of giving additional health benefits to those who have already had more of them, we can start to level the playing field a little bit. Oh my God. One paragraph after these claims, the Times quoted another person who noted there are not fact-based, public health-based reasons to justify Schmidt's reasoning. They need to have a bomb-proof, fact-based, public health-based reasons for why one group goes ahead of another. How about the people who are most vulnerable? I understand giving it to the first responders, I suppose. Just don't fucking mandate it, because you've seen that bitch go down like a sack of potatoes. But yes, the people who need the vaccine are the elderly, because they are the ones who are most affected by COVID if we're not taking a look at everything through a racist lens. For fuck's sakes, people, just follow the science. In addition to peddling a political execution of critical race theory, yuck, which will be coming back because that's one of the first things that Biden wants to do in his 100 days or whatever. So any illusions that Biden's going to be a moderate are right out the window if you take a look at everybody else he's bringing in as well. Other fellow tattoo enthusiasts. Schmidt also advocates for a Center for Disease Control and Prevention to use a social vulnerability index. Sounds a lot like a social credit score, measuring socioeconomic disadvantages and their effects on people's health as a guide for vaccine distribution. Holy fuck, I was trying to make a joke, but that's exactly what that is. He also signed onto a analysis paper with other academics days before the Times article was published, outlining the importance of considering social justice and racial equality while administering the coronavirus vaccine. Holy shit. I could not think of anything that's more or less relevant, honestly. I want to take a look at more of those studies that show that different blood types are more susceptible to stronger reactions to coronavirus, because I think that is very weird. I don't know if we have any other viruses out there that, depending on what type of blood you have in your body, elicit more extreme side effects of a virus. I find that very fascinating, very weird at the same time, but all of the science is kind of murky at this point, and none of the studies have really come back with anything, because you can develop a vaccine in record time, but you can't really do any of the studies in the same timelines. Anyways, to minimize the risk that ethics and social justice falls by the wayside in the busy months to come, planners at the federal, state, and local level should carefully consider on what grounds they decline to adopt equity measures that other planners deem important and feasible for defining priority populations, designing allocation quotas, and just as critical, enabling and monitoring update. The paper puked. Oh, stated. Sorry. That's just what I did reading that. Ugh. Like, could you imagine uncritically presenting your evidence and saying that minorities most affected? I know that they've been trying to push this since late June after, when COVID first hit, all of this critical race theory stuff, all of these social justice values just really went underground for a minute, okay? It all seemed like everybody was going to come together, rally around this deadly disease. At the time, we figured it was going to kill everybody and their mother. But everybody was just starting to come together, and then that fentanyl fiend got sent to the big distribution center in the sky, and all of a sudden it came back with a vengeance. It was like it was taking a month-long break to just fucking coil up and get all of your insane policies in order, and then just fucking snap back with a vengeance. And they have not let up since. I don't know. That's what happens when you give the people who least deserve the amount of power that they have the reins to pretty much everything. They've already taken over all the institutions, and now they're going to have the executive branch. Oh, Christ on ice. But okay, this is just one hack who was saying his fucking piece to the hackiest of hack outlets in the New York Times. This could just be, one kook. But it's really not, because Cornell vaccine mandate only applies to white students. Yes, it continues to get fucking weirder. The Ivy League school offers a race-based exemption for its new mandatory flu shot. So in order to attend Cornell, one of the most privileged schools in the entire land, you have to have a flu shot, requiring only white students to get immunized before returning to the area. So their take on this is, okay, we'll let the white kids be the guinea pigs on this one, while all of the New York Timesers just spurg out because minorities most affected. You literally can't make this shit up. The fact that Cornell has to have a health page entitled "Especially for Students of Color" just goes to show you how unnecessary universities are anymore. Jesus Christ. Stick to the STEM fields, and that's it. I don't want to see anything else outside of that. And even that's become corrupt, because what was it? A whole bunch of scientists got together and signed a diversity quota list. I can barely keep up with the insanity that's fucking going on this day and age. But here's a little highlight from what Cornell has put out. We recognize that due to longstanding systemic racism and health inequalities in this country, individuals from some marginalized communities may have concerns about needing to agree to such requirements. For example, historically, the bodies of the Black, Indigenous, and other peoples of color have been mistreated and used by people in power, continued to this day by the people at Cornell, sometimes to profit or medical gain, like Democrats shooting up the Tuskegee Airmen with syphilis in order to make them more effective fighters. It is understandable that the current compact requirements may feel suspect or even exploitative for some BIPOC members of the Cornell community. Additionally, recent acts of violence against Black people by law enforcement, even though it's not disproportionate whatsoever, if you are a white person, you are more likely to be shot dead by the cops anyways, may contribute to feelings of distrust, of powerlessness. While the university strongly recommends that non-white students comply voluntarily because of long-standing social inequalities and the blah 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 blah, they will be granted an exemption if they cite their racial identity. Fuck off. Fuck off. I don't even know if a joke is in order for this, because I think that just read like an excerpt from a George Carlin special. Honestly, just the absurdity of real life. Comedy relies upon the absurd, and that doesn't get any more absurd. Listen, if you identify as Black, you don't have to get the vaccine. That's all right. We'll take your word for it. Really, it's unbelievable. Just the use of racial divides is straight out of the KGB playbook. If you guys have seen the Yuri Bezmenov interview or his teaching towards a class in the mid-'80s, he just shows that race, sexuality are just used as wedges in order to fractionate an entire society. And if you need to cite the source, yeah, just take a look at this. Not only is the disease not nearly as deadly as we originally thought, yeah, they're already just trying to politicize it even further. It went from a right-left issue of just wear a mask or won't you please follow the science to, yeah, now only white people should be vaccinated, and unless they're old, then they don't need it as much as the brown people on the front lines. And my God, it's tough and very difficult to be a leftist. Anyways, guys, that is the absurdity of the day. And after this, we're going to talk about something up here in Canada, eh? Because we at least have one member of parliament who actually has his fucking head screwed on right. And we're going to end today on a happier note. Anyways, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.